Assalamu alaikum, family. I will go ahead and open us up in prayer. Attention prayer. Surely I have turned myself to thee, O Allah, striving to be upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the world. No associate has he, and of this I am commanded, and I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King. There is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. And I have been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess of my faults. So please grant me protection against all of my faults, for none grants protection against faults but thee. And guide me unto the best of morals, for none guides unto the best of morals but thee. And turn away from me the evil and the indecent morals, for none can turn away from me the evil and the indecent morals but thee. O Allah, bless Muhammad, and bless the true followers of Muhammad, as thou did bless Abraham and the true followers of Abraham, for surely thou art praised and magnified. And O Allah, make Muhammad successful, and make the true followers of Muhammad successful, as thou did make Abraham and the true followers of Abraham successful, for surely thou art praised and magnified in our midst forever. Ameen.
Ameen.
Is Sister Anissa in here? Regardless, assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Walaikum salam.
The 3-year anniversary of the Master Call. All praise is due to Allah. June 4th was the official day of the 3-year anniversary, but this is our first call, and we're going to be celebrating all month, to be honest. So all praise is due to Allah. We have our dear brother, National Assistant to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad, with us yet again. We have our hostess of the mostest, Sister Anissa, who started the Master Call. She wants to give us a few words to open up this momentous occasion. Please say whatever is on your heart, dear sister.
Assalamu alaikum, family. I literally just wanted to say assalamu alaikum and give the greetings to everybody. Happy 3-year anniversary. This whole week is entitled Assalamu alaikum, Brother Ishmael. Woo, 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 woo. Thank you for jumping us off with a 3-year anniversary. This whole anniversary, because it is a 3-year, is centered around hard trials are necessary to establish truth, because the number 3 represents trial. So we'll be going into, which is the topic chosen by our beloved brother Ishmael, resolving conflict and settling differences. So this is perfect way to jump off the theme of hard trials are necessary to establish truth, because resolving conflict and settling differences be hard. So thank Allah. And we have, please stay tuned for the entire week, because we'll be following up with Brother Demetric, then Brother Abdul Qiyam, and at the end of the month, we will have, inshallah, our beloved brother, Dr. Wesley as well. So I am so excited to sit back and enjoy the show. The brothers are handling the entire week. So that is all from me. Please make sure, Brother Jeremy, that you spotlight everyone that is speaking, Brother Ishmael, Brother Darren, Brother Javon, Brother Demetrius, and basically the same way we set it up the last time. And yes, that's all. And assalamu alaikum, Closing the Gap family. They're over there on YouTube land watching as well. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Shout out to Closing the Gap. All praise is due to Allah. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know she was about to drop the whole lineup of the month on y'all like that. Some of y'all are probably falling out of your chairs at our guest lineup. But praise be to Allah. Student Minister Ishmael, did you have any opening words that you would like to share with us, sir, on your subject today?
Thank you for having me once again on this wonderful show and broadcast, and congratulations to Sister Nisa and the staff on your 3-year anniversary. To keep the word of Allah out on the airways and building this platform that allows us to converse with each other on the revelation of Allah, the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that the minister said, I believe it's in Closing the Gap, that when we converse on the revelation of Allah, the word of Allah, that's the highest level of energy that we could participate in. So again, congratulations. And we are very, very proud of the work that you are doing, Sister Nisa, and all of you that I see on the screen. Each of you are doing a wonderful, wonderful job in promoting the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and striving to be a good example of the teachings that make you and I attractive and magnetic to our people. So I wanted to start with that. And of course, assalamu alaikum to all.
Alaikum salam, sir.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
So I'll say a few things before we, I guess, open up for questions and dialogue.
Yes, sir.
We know as Muslims and the righteous of God that settling our differences and resolving conflict is the way of Allah. It's the way of the righteous. It's the way of a Muslim. Conflict resolution is the way for two or more parties to find a peaceful solution to a disagreement or an offense that has come up among us. The Holy Quran instructs us as Muslims to settle our differences. And it tells us how important the settling of differences among the Muslims is, especially during a time of war, lest we are weak in the face of the enemy. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that Hitler could have won the war, but Hitler was fighting a war on two fronts. Therefore, he could not win. Well, if we have the enemy to contend with on the outside, then it's very difficult for us to fight for Islam and to be effective against the enemy's attack against our minister, against us, against the cause. If we have issues among us, if we have quarreling in the home, disagreements in our marriages, there's nothing wrong with having a disagreement, but quarreling with one another is forbidden by Allah because it breaks the peace of our homes, of our marriages, of the brotherhood, of the sisterhood. So quarreling where we now are expressing disdain, enmity, vitriol, hatred, that has no place in the life of a Muslim. It is not that we are not going to have disagreements and things that come up in our relationship with one another that have to be resolved. That's natural. But once we disagree and become disagreeable, then as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in his case for separation, we demand separation from the enemy because he's disagreeable to live with in peace. Once we become so disagreeable to live with in peace, then there has to be a separation of the two parties. If we become so disagreeable in the mosque and we do not wish to settle our differences, resolve conflicts, address grievances, then there's no peace in the mosque. There's no peace in the family. There's no peace in marriage. So we have to learn the way to handle our disagreements and the issues that come up among us in a manner and in a way that does not cause us, to fall out with one another, where there's a falling out of brother and his brother, a fallout between sisters, a fallout in marriage. That can be completely avoided. So Allah says in the Quran, call to the way of thy Lord with wisdom and goodly exhortation, and argue with them in the best manner.
Yes, sir.
Now he's speaking to us as the way and the manner to deal with those who disbelieve, to deal with our enemy, our opponents, to deal with those who slander us from the outside and speak all manner of evil against us. But look at the way of Allah. Use wisdom. And with what? Goodly exhortation. But argue with them in the best manner. Argue implies the offering of reasons or evidence. To argue means that you have an intelligent discourse with the objective to reach conclusions and to arrive at some understanding that we go away at least respecting each other's position, respecting each other's points of view without falling out, falling away, and becoming bitter. So Allah closes those words and he says, surely thy Lord knows best who strays from his path, and he knows best those who go aright. But let's just look at, again, argue in the best manner. Exhortation is to communicate, look at this, empathetically. Wow. When you and I have to give to each other our points of view, though they differ, though they are opposite, yet we are to appeal to each other to reason. Most of us get into arguments that causes a fallout when we are looking to make a judgment of right or wrong. In some cases, that's necessary. But even in right or wrong, when you have to use wisdom, or Allah telling us to call to the way of thy Lord with wisdom. That means how we approach each other with our grievance, approach each other with the issue that we have with one another, how we approach the person who has offended us is critical, because goodly exhortation means, listen to this, it's language that's intended to incite or encourage. Most of us don't go to each other with the right spirit. It's not a spirit that says first, I love you. You're my brother. You're my sister. You're my wife. You're my husband. But I'm hurt. There's something that I need to bring to your attention that has hurt me. See? We generally just come at each other.
Teach me.
And that puts the person immediately on the defensive. So when you come at me like that with a loud voice and it's already hostile, the whole manner, the whole spirit is hostile, it's aggressive, it's attacking, as opposed to us coming to each other the way that Allah would have us. Let's sit down, if you will, that we may discuss a matter that I have with you. So I'll close these opening remarks with Paul's writing in Ephesians. He said, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. Paul is trying to get the believer to stay away from bitterness before it gets hold of our minds, our spirit. Bitterness is like a slow poison. One negative thought leads to another. It starts feeding on itself. And soon we become bitter by what somebody has done to us. And now we start thinking and making plans to get even. So the book of Hebrews warns us about allowing bitterness to take root. And it tells us, quote, see to it that no one fails to obtain the grace of God, that no root of bitterness springs up and causes trouble, and by it many become defiled. Wow. So all of us have been hurt. And as we ponder the ways we've been hurt by others, it can be easy to let bitterness consume our souls. Bitterness, brothers and sisters, is that state of mind that willfully holds on to angry feelings. And that state of mind is always ready to take offense. It's ready to strike out. And anger can break out at any moment when you're in that state of mind of bitterness, disappointment, upset, angry over what someone has done to you. So I'll close it there, but I'll close this. See, the key to fighting bitterness is forgiveness. When you forgive, you let the other person off the hook for their wrongs, and you are taking your hurt over to God. Woo. Because God is the perfect healer, and God issues punishment against the wrongdoer. So Allah is the judge, and no one escapes the judgment of God. Then when we take it to God, then we can always keep our peace, maintain our peace, and we are free from anything that someone has done to us. And we are released from being held in the bondage of bitterness. Thank you for allowing me these few words to open our dialogue this evening.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you for that foundation you just laid. We can get right into the questions, Brother Minister Ishmael. Question number 1, it says that bearing witness to Luke 12:53, they will be divided, father against son and son against father, mother against daughter and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. As an adult Muslim under the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, having learned the value of mothers and the obligation to honor their mother from the words of the minister, how does a daughter-son resolve past issues of various types of abuse from their parent, but only finds peace by having no contact with their past abusive parent? How does one handle feelings of guilt from wanting no relationship with a parent, but still wants to forgive, heal, and love from a distance?
That is one of the most difficult pains that we could experience in life, is to be abused mentally, emotionally, or physically by a parent. And the reason why that one is the greatest of all pain is because we put the greatest of our expectations coming into the world into our parents. We don't expect mother to mistreat us. We don't expect father to abuse us. We don't expect brother to take advantage of us, a sister, an aunt, an uncle. So this is why the pain of any offense, hurt, abuse coming from family, that's one of the most difficult pains to overcome, because we carry it throughout our life. Now, the scripture that you quoted has more to do with what the word of Allah will create in the home. It divides the house because one member has embraced Jesus, the gospel of Jesus, the will of God, and this is going to put one family member at variance with the other, and it produces separation. And many of us that have come in the nation have experienced that, where we have had to completely cut off ties with our parents because they rejected what we embraced. Now that is that scripture. But the first part of this that I spoke on, Allah tells us to reverence the womb that bore you and me. He does not give us any exceptions. And mother is supposed to be honored next to Allah and his messenger. Doesn't say whether that mother is a believer or a disbeliever. Mother. It doesn't matter what her belief is. But to respect and honor our mothers, even when they did not do right by us, is a commandment from Allah. Are y'all with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the hardest thing for us to do, dear brothers and sisters, when we have been ill affected, the injury and the pain doesn't allow us to see the bigger picture. We are affected personally by what has been done to us, so our trauma impairs our ability to see beyond self. That's natural. So I was talking to a brother, not in the mosque. He's the victim of things that happen in the home. So I said, brother, you have a right to be upset. You have a right to be displeased with your mother. But you do not have the right to judge your mother. Then each of us that have been ill affected by a mother or a father, once you are able to see what happened to mom, what happened to dad, that made dad or mom the way they are or the way they were when you and I were children.
Okay.
This is critical. Listen to a goodly exhortation, communication with empathy. So Moses traveled with the wise man. And the wise man told him, you can't have patience with me. Look at what he said. How can you have patience with that whereof you don't have a what? Comprehensive knowledge.
There it is.
So in our anger and our bitterness, if you notice, people who are angry, they're impatient, they're impulsive, they're rash in their judgment because they got some disappointment, some anger, some unresolved issue and issues that they are not at peace. So Moses judged everything that the wise man did. What was the basis of his judgment? It was on the appearance of the thing and what he thought and understood to be right. The standard of right. So when the wise man slew the boy, well, that's murder. Come on. That's murder in the first degree. How the hell are you going to justify just killing a boy like that? So Moses said, look, you slay an innocent boy? And what did the wise man say? I told you, you would not have patience with me. Because you don't have a comprehensive knowledge. Moses could only see what he saw. He didn't have a foresight. He couldn't see into the future. It was only until afterwards that the wise man said, that boy would have grown up a disbeliever. And we did not want his believing parents to suffer grief because they were righteous. So we took him from them and put in his place a believing child. Dang. That's why Moses felt so bad at the end. What I'm saying to us in that lesson, to an answer to that question, is that we have to take it to God. Whatever mom did to you, whatever anyone has done to you, that is out of your control. You didn't deserve it. You didn't earn it. But if it happened, then why do we say as Muslims nothing happens except by Allah's permission? So if this came into your and my life as a great misfortune, I got to go to God. Because it's only God that can heal me. Mama can't heal me. Daddy can't heal me. And though it takes a tremendous weight off of us when those that offend us atone and ask forgiveness, sometimes it's not enough. Some things that have been done to us, man, are unforgivable. I'm talking about one to the other. And I'm speaking now to abuse. I'm speaking to physical abuse. I'm speaking to sexual violations. Those are very, very serious crimes and offenses that the victim cannot be healed by a father or a mother or an uncle saying, I'm sorry. So God gives us the way to heal ourselves. Listen to me good. You have to give the forgiveness and then go to God for the healing. What? I ain't forgiving that nigga. But then you never heal. Because the uncle, the father, the mother, are they not also a victim of circumstances that they did not create? Talk to me.
Yes, sir.
Are we not all victims of a satanic world? So who do you blame? Well, you should know better. This one shouldn't. Yes, yeah, we can say that, but damn. You knew better not to drink, but you drank anyway.
Talk about the Hennessy.
You knew better not to sleep with that girl because God forbids fornication. So why'd you do it? Where are you going to stop? Where are you going to end? So as Paul said, one offense of the law is an offense to them all. So we're going to have to come back to this scripture to square it all. born in sin and shaped in iniquity. Every one of us have been born in a world that is diametrically opposed to God. Every one of us have been born in a world of rebellion and lawlessness.
Go ahead.
Satan's world has injured every human being born on this planet. So the victim becomes the victimizer and the abused becomes the abuser. And when you look and find out why it's unnatural, then you find out the same person that abused you was abused. Now you see what I'm saying? How far do you go? So since you will never have peace going down that road, I got to take it to the God who permitted such a world to come into existence. He's the ultimate cause of all effect. Excuse me for racing.
No, sir.
I don't want to sound like I'm yelling, but I get so passionate because these are such serious issues.
Yes, sir.
And in the question, I feel the pain of not only the person that put this question before us, but the pain of countless tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of people on our planet, man. And in our own community that are scarred and wounded and injured because of things that happen to us in our innocence.
Come on, come on.
That caused the beauty of our innocence to become ugly. Our giving and our expression to become silent and withholding, because I have been wronged. It's big, man. So at the end of the day, who do I go to? I close with this verse in the Lord's Prayer. We say, forgive us for our trespasses, as we what?
Forgive
those who trespass against us.
Sure.
They have to go hand in hand, even if the person, and this is where you and I, man, we got some growing to do. Because Jesus was such a man, is such a man.
Come on.
Who forgives the people without their even asking for the forgiveness. Bam. We got a long way to go in understanding Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim. Look at how Allah extends his mercy and it's undeserved. Gee. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. What? They nailed him to the cross. They beat him. They tortured him. How can you say they didn't know what they were doing? Because if they really knew, if they really understood, they never would have done that. See? Now you take that principle in the lives of everybody that has offended you. If they really knew better, if they really had a knowledge of themselves, if they really had God, would they do what they did to you No, they wouldn't. All of us have been touched by Satan, shaped in iniquity. Therefore, all stand in need of God's mercy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All, excuse me. All praises due to Allah. Before we ask the second question, just a reminder to the family, we are currently 149 people deep in here. Thank you all for your attendance. Please invite somebody. Let's at least double it. Every single one of us needs conflict resolution and reconciliation. So, second question. Let's see. It's a lengthy one. I'm gonna ask you both parts of it, Brother Minister Ishmael. So, regarding conflict in marriage, how does a believing couple deal with dissatisfaction with one another in multiple areas of their relationship when one is less active in their practice? When one is less active in their practice, active move to, let me reword this here a little bit.
More or less active in their faith.
Okay, more or less active in their faith than the other. And the second part of the question is, how does a wife resolve conflicting emotions, love and disappointment with regard to her husband, who is a very good man, but not necessarily treating her the way the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us, because he doesn't seem to prioritize study and devotion in a way that makes her feel secure, inspired, and loved?
In both questions, we have the issue of faith and practice.
Yes, sir.
Very difficult for one who says they believe. And we know that mere belief accounts for nothing except that it's carried into practice. Very difficult for us to be a believing wife and a believing husband, but one wife prays, the husband doesn't pray, or one observes fasting during the month of Ramadan, the other one puts up excuses as to why they can't fast, and don't bother me with that. See, now that starts. See, that scripture that was quoted earlier. See, Jesus is putting at variance son-in-law against father, husband, and wife. But sometimes in our Islamic marriages, we will start leaning to the derelict of duty of the spouse, where faith is concerned. But up underneath that is already some degree of dissatisfaction. So we'll start leaning on the faith, leaning on you not doing this, you not doing that. But that's not the root of the problem. There are other issues in that kind of union. So when we start pressing each other, I get up for prayer. Hey, Brother Darren, baby, get up. Let's say prayer. I'm tired. You said that last night, yesterday, last week. Go on, baby. I'll get it in. Now I start getting angry. Now, notice, he hasn't said anything against Allah, nothing against the messenger. He loves Islam, but maybe sleep has overpowered him. though prayer is better than sleep, but in his mind, sleep is better than prayer. Okay. Am I going to make that an issue? I'm not going to make that an issue. But if I'm already disappointed in him, I'm disappointed in my wife, then I start, you don't go to class. When's the last time you been to the mosque? When's the last time you observed a 3-day fast? See, now, see, you're creating something.
You teacher. Oh, God.
And it's not good.
Yes, sir.
It's not good. And we do this to each other. But don't make that derelict of duty the cause of your dissatisfaction, as though you're so right and your spouse is so wrong. If you love going to the class, if you love praying and it waters your soul and it is securing you with Allah, man, I got peace with myself. And I feel sorry for the other person, but guess what? I'm not concerned with them. Now, if the individual just starts not coming out, not talking Islam, and is falling out of faith, now there's a cause for concern. But I'm not going to create tension in my marriage over certain practices. I'm not going to do that. Each according to his own turn. And as I said earlier, argue in the best manner. Always an encouragement. Oh, not judge me, not put me down. You know, sweetheart, man, I would love. I know you don't do it much, but if you could just pray with me sometimes. Man, how can I refuse an invitation like that? And it's an invitation to faith. Look at you. You want the blessings of Allah, but you won't even bow down with those who bow down. You see, now, what makes me even want to pray next to you with that kind of spirit?
Teach.
So I hope I'm answering the question, you know, because faith can become an issue when the spouse is no longer active in anything. Don't come to class, don't come to the study group, don't come to mosque, doesn't pray, doesn't give in charity. And every time you bring Islam up, you know, you get this what's the word? You get this resentful kind of response, like the person resents it. Now you know you got a problem. That's a problem. Because a believer, when they are reminded of Allah, what does the Quran say? Their heads bow, man. When I'm reminded of remembrance of Allah, I do like this. Man, I got to get it together. I got to do better. That's a believing husband and a believing wife. Outside of that, let us not use that as a weapon to cut each other and use it as a stick to beat each other simply because you decided to rededicate your life and being more dutiful and more prayerful and more charity, and you want your spouse to be right there with you. No. Sometimes you have to go and lose weight. I'm not the fat one, you are. Why I got to be on the diet with you? Yes. I can encourage you, but sometimes we need the medicine. I just thought I'd throw that in there. You know, all of us should be at peace, knowing that we have a believing husband and a believing wife. And to the degree that the believing husband or the believing wife doesn't pray or can't get to the mosque all the time, but it's the spirit. It's the quality of heart. And if you see the heart becoming removed from the minister, removed from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, removed from the truth, now you know you got a problem. Because now, if you are falling out of faith, gee, I can't stay with you. Not me. I can't be with an unbelieving husband or an unbelieving wife. Nah, I gotta have a wife that believes in the God that I believe in. And if she once believed, now disbelieves, we done. It's over. That's it between me and you. Ain't nothing that you can give me in life, because Allah and his messenger and the cause mean everything to me. So if you once said you believe and now you disbelieve, that's it. That is a reason and justification sanctioned by Allah for divorce. Sir. Because that's the act of spiritual infidelity. Anyway, sorry, I hope I answered the question. I'll try to be quicker with the answers.
No, brother, let him.
Jadiah, I saw her for a minute.
Sister Jadiah?
Jadiah?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Jadiah.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Always good to see your smiley, bright face. Congratulations to you. I congratulated Sister Nisa. I know you have helped her on this master call, and congratulations to you as well on your 3-year anniversary.
All praises due to Allah. Thank you. Alhamdulillah.
So now the brothers is rolling with this program for the whole month. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. All right, brother minister, we have a third question. It is, how do we get over the difficulty of initiating the atonement process when offended? And what does getting over that difficulty do for our character?
If the question, as I'm understand it, Brother Darren, is it what makes it difficult for us to atone?
Yes, sir.
We don't want to be wrong. The first step in the process is point out the wrong. And who wants to be wrong? So that's what makes it difficult. Because to go to your brother, your sister, your husband, your wife, and tell them they were wrong. Some of us, we already know it and we can acknowledge it in that moment. But the difficult process is pointing out the wrong. And some of us refuse to see the wrongs that we do, the offenses we commit, the hurt that we cause. And that's what makes atonement so doggone difficult. And we're talking about the principle of atonement, Brother Darren, with Muslims, where our egos are so big that I don't even want to sit down or accept an arbiter in our disagreement. No, I don't want to sit down with nobody. Wow, really? Gee. Then you're not going to be blessed, because blessed are the peacemakers. So it is very difficult for many reasons. But underneath all of that difficulty is our ego, pride. See, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So we're too proud to sit down at the table that we may have an intelligent discussion over what it is that I have done. A Muslim is self-conscious, and all of us are self-conscious, but you can't be so self-conscious that you refuse to hear what somebody is telling you about yourself. The believer's whole disposition is, if I hurt you, if I offended you in word or deed, just to be informed of that makes me feel awful. I hurt you. Please forgive me. So atonement is difficult because we don't want to see ourselves in error. We do not want to see that we are wrong. I was wrong. And we always try to justify sometimes our wrongdoing. See, we rationalize it with deceptive intelligence as opposed to coming clean and straight. Did that answer the question, Brother Darren?
I think so. Thank you, sir. Brother Javon.
You.
Praise be to Allah, yes, sir. So our next question is, Assalamu alaikum. How can we practice complete forgiveness with believers who deliberately harm or defame without having a watchful eye on them?
Well, that's not a believer. If they deliberately defame, that's a hypocrite. The hypocrite is the defamer and slanderer. So you cannot put up with that kind of person. That's not a believer. A believer will not continually, in fact, about a believer does not defame his brother or sister. That's a hypocrite. So if you are putting up with someone who claims to be a Muslim and a believer and a follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and they are engaged in that kind of behavior, you ain't dealing with no believer. That's a hypocrite. That's a disbeliever. That's an enemy to the cause. I hope I heard the question right. Say it one more time.
Yes, sir. 1 second. So the question is, Assalamu alaikum, how can we practice complete forgiveness with believers who deliberately harm or defame without having a watchful eye on them?
See, without having a watchful eye. You don't have to have a watchful eye as such if that person has been confronted with their offense. And that's why we're supposed to report all slackness, weakness, and wrongdoing. It has to be addressed when it manifests in the body, lest it ill affect other members of the body and the whole body become impaired, sick, ill, and corrupted. So our job is always to bring that offense to the attention of the authorities to address it so that we can ensure that we have a peaceful society. But lawbreakers and violators and spirit killers, they cannot remain in the house. They have to be addressed. Otherwise, we lose the beautiful atmosphere of love in the house. And when things are not addressed, then the morale and the spirit of the sisterhood and the brotherhood goes down, because you got this one saying something over here, this one gossiping, this one is backbiting, but nobody wants to say anything. Everyone is afraid. See, when we become loyal to Allah and the cause and understand that you're not being you're not ratting on somebody. When you expose it, you go to them and confront them. This is the way we are taught. But if the behavior is not corrected, then I can't allow that to remain, because they're going to ill affect somebody else. So you got to address that snake.
Go into lessons.
Because if you let that snake live, they're going to bite somebody else. And the next thing you know, the whole house is poisoned. Thank you for the question.
Thank you for the answer, sir.
See, handling it is suggesting, how do you tolerate it? We don't tolerate madness. We don't tolerate and put up with that which offends Allah and the brotherhood. No, sir. No, sir. No, ma'am.
Praise be to Allah.
To Allah. Again,
Brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my brother. Continue to DM us your questions. You can send them directly to Brother Javon in the chat. We are now 185 deep in here, and however many we have on Closing the Gap. Shout out to our Closing the Gap broadcast family. Next question. How do I diffuse a domestic dispute, especially without being biased, if one of them is a sibling or a close relative?
How do I settle a domestic dispute without being biased?
Yes, sir. How do I diffuse a domestic dispute, especially
without what?
How do I diffuse a domestic dispute, especially without being biased, if one of them is a sibling or a close relative?
You go to the party individually and you let them know that you want to serve as a mediator, an arbiter, to settle the dispute. And you prepare that party to meet the other party. You go to the other party and let them know how you want to serve. Then you bring both parties together. You're not going to be biased if you and I are true to the principle of justice. See, what does the Quran tell us? Be it against who?
Your own
Your
relative.
mother, your father, your parents, your near of kin. Wow. Allah implores us, be maintainers of what? Justice. So the symbol of justice here in America is a woman that's what?
Blindfolded.
Blindfolded. See? I don't see your relationship to me.
Come on.
What I see and how I will mediate this or even judge the dispute is on the basis of truth. And if that truth is against you, Mom, hey, take it. If you accept it, you'll be free from it. Well, you, my son, you, and a lot of us, once you start fearing men as you ought to fear God, you are now weakening your own faith and the Spirit of God that comes in us. What did the minister tell us, Savior State? Stand on truth. Whatever that truth is, it's truth. And I'm going to stand on it. And damn it, if I lose friendship with you, if I lose because you wanted me to side with you against another family member or a friend over here, and goddamn it, you should have never brought me into it because I'm a Muslim. I'm not trying to win your favor. If it is against the principles of my religion, hell no. Excuse me. I don't give a damn about you. But my relationship with God, I got to answer to God. Well, I didn't want to hurt feelings, and I don't want to fall out with my sister or my brother or my mother, you know. We play that. See, we're like clans, tribes, my crew. Our loyalty, see, is to kinships. But that's not a loyalty that's worth fighting for and living for or protecting if it's not rooted in the principles of God. Are y'all feeling me?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
This is a serious test of what it means to be a believer. Allah holds us responsible to be maintainers of justice. It's the greatest principle of what? Fair dealing. So if I'm not willing to arbitrate and mediate and help to settle issues that come up between two parties with truth, because this is my wife, this is my son, this is my brother. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad put his own wife out of the mosque. He put his son out of the mosque. That's the messenger of God as an example. No. Once you are related, it doesn't mean that you are being mean. It doesn't mean that you're being disrespectful. No. But it does mean that if one party is wrong, they have to be shown with kindness. You wrong, sis. You wrong, bro. You wrong, Dad. I'm sorry, man. That wasn't right. And you gonna tell me that? And you my son? See, look at what God says. Always put God in front, because see, it's not your judgment. It's not my judgment. It's how God judges. Woo. Then now they got to face the God.
Mm.
But let me tell you something. When you stand strong like that on what is right, you'll be the winner. Even if you lose the friendship, you have gained the closer friendship of God.
Mm.
Next question.
Yes, sir, Brother Minister. You actually touched on that last part, the next question, which is, how vitally important is it for two believers to use the word of God as the basis of their interaction with each other generally, but specifically in conflict?
How's the saying go? Don't use the Lord's name in what?
Vain.
Vain. See? See, if the spirit of peace is not present, then don't use Allah and the messenger as a weapon against your adversary. Don't do that. See, when we start getting into a dispute and then we'll throw, well, the minister said, I'm not, hey. The minister and the messenger aren't even present when you do that. And the guidance and the guidance and wisdom that's in his word is being disrespected because it's not even falling on receptive ears. So you're just using it as a stick and a bat. Is that how we use Elijah Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan? To beat somebody over their head? No. When you offer the messenger of God, it's always out of a spirit of love, never out of hate. So it's only proper to lift them when we're sitting down across from one another, ready to dialogue and have an intelligent conversation over our issues. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
Some of us like to throw the minister and the messenger around and like to slap each other in the face. Well, the minister said in his tape, blah, 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 blah. And don't do that. Don't do that. No. Did the minister deliver the word like that? No, he didn't. And did he deliver it to a people who were guilty of all kinds of offenses? How did he present us? With the error of our ways. Therefore, he deserves to be represented in like manner, one to the other. It shows our reverence, our respect, and our love for Allah and his messenger, that I will not just throw him out at the heat of my anger and all of that. No. I'm disrespecting the man that I say I love. I will lift his name and what he said to my husband and to my wife when we're sitting down and we agree to discuss the issues that we have with one another, and that Allah is the final arbiter of our disputes. We come as believers. Where am I in error? Well, you're in error here because this is the violation, and this is what Allah says, and this is what the minister has taught us. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I will absolutely reflect on that. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. And I am going to do right and do better by you because I want to do right and do better by God. See the difference? See, if I'm a believer, to disrespect you is to disrespect him. To mistreat you is to mistreat Allah. You got to understand this. We can't be one way with God and the messenger and another way with each other. That's not Islam. Next question.
All praises due to Allah. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I don't know how this is going, but I hope
It's going.
I hope it's being received well.
Yes, sir. The responses in the chat are telling us that you've touched a lot of points and a lot of people.
Yes, sir.
Well, I know that all of us are struggling in relationships. And the one we're struggling with the most is our relationship with God. And to the degree that we're off, it's to a degree that the person that we're attached to in our life is off as well. But the one that we struggle with the most is self. And then, of course, the needs and the wants. And all of us are trying our best, some of us, to make bad decisions, good decisions, bad choices, good choices, because we just didn't do it the way God would have had us to enter into a situation. And guess what? God can right that as long as we do this, ready to submit. Because if I really love you and I hurt your feelings, man, I'm hurt that you're hurt. Then we have all of these differences that come up in marriage, right? Differences. We're different. Different personalities, different upbringing, backgrounds. And all of these differences start manifesting in a union. Very difficult. And even with the best of premarital counseling and all of the analysis and examination, things come up that we did not discover during the discovery. But if I made the choice based upon my love for that person and everything that I learned about that person, I was satisfied with, knowing that there are going to be other things that are going to come up, but because I love you and committed to you, then the marriage, like Minister Farrakhan and Mother Khadijah, it can last. And they fell in love as young boy, girl, teenagers. Think about that. and they're still married and love each other more today than 50 years ago. Just think about that. But when the minister made that choice, he knew the kind of woman he wanted in his life, and she has not failed him. And he has not failed her. Have there been challenges? Of course. But because of their commitment and because of their dutifulness as Muslims to the faith, they have endured. Most of us is falling out, and I mean, we're just a mess. And you can make it, okay, I didn't have a father. Okay, well, the minister didn't have a father. What? Okay, next person, oh, my mother wasn't there. I mean, dang. See, you keep putting it on somebody else. Really? And that somebody else can't solve it. The damage done. Now what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to keep on using that to either win sympathy or make an excuse for yourself? Or are you going to embrace and accept Allah into your life as a believer and let him repair what is broken? Let him make whole and sound what has been impaired in life. Then I stop, this one and that one and this one. Oh, stop it. Look at the minister. How many people have done him wrong?
Oh.
I mean, you take any hurt that any of us have experienced, any offense, anyone that has backbite us, slandered us, gossiped about us. You magnify that 100 to 1,000 times in the life of the minister and look at the minister. Unscathed, down near untouched. Huh? If he gave in to all of that, he would be a bitter man. I mean, just think about the example we have in front of us.
Sir.
He would be a bitter man and then unfit to be Allah's messenger Messiah. Isn't that something? So believers, I'm not diminishing any hurt or pain that any one of us have experienced. But this is why we read the Quran. Look at Joseph. His brothers left him for dead. Dang. They envied him. Look at what he did. Was he planning his revenge? Any one of us, man, that done to us, man, left for dead, huh? Taken away and dumped in an alley by our own brothers. First thing on our mind, man, is what? Revenge. And if I get in a position of power, I will do to others what they have done to me. But why is Joseph, the 12th chapter of the Quran, considered the most beautiful of all of the narratives? Because Joseph was blessed and then put in a position of power, authority, wealth. But he never threw back on his brothers what they had done to him. See, That's the kind of quality that Allah wants us to acquire. Stop thinking of doing evil to those that have wronged you. That's not the way of God. You have to know that they're going to get theirs. But I'm not going to be the one that will plan their demise. I leave that in the hands of Allah. How can you say you believe in Allah? See? And then take justice in your own hand. You're not a believer because Allah forbids you to do that. So why do you do that? Damn. I never looked at it like that. See, all of us want like for like, but that's not the way of the Messiah. And that's where the trial of many that follow the Messiah. See, as long as he does things that you agree with and pleases you, you're good. But the minute he makes a demand on us to do something that is unnatural, now we get a little messed up. And then some of us will say, well, that's the minister, but that's not me. But you say you follow him. Well, the minister can do that because, you know, through him, Allah's going to get all of his people. But you say you follow him. Damn. I thought we supposed to be Christ-like. See, when you start putting it all on, you can't do that. No. The biggest thing that we have to do, brothers and sisters, is strengthen our marriages. But husband and wife have to come to each other in a spirit not to condemn and judge. We've got to come to each other honestly with what it is that's bothering us, but not in a way that puts the other person down, but lifts. Sweetheart, do you mind? There's one little thing here. And see, and if we do it that way, then your partner, your spouse, go ahead, what is it? What is it? All right. But don't come back behind that and say, well, if I work on this, you gotta stop. Anything that's being pointed out to us that is right makes us better in the sight of God. I want to be pleasing. See, everything's related to the God. And everything that's pointed out to you, all you got to do is take it to the God. And if you see God frown on it, then damn it, that's the thing I know that I need to work on. Are y'all feeling me?
Yes,
Am I making sense?
100%, man. We teach
If your wife is pointing it out to you, all she has to do is say, take this before God and let me know in the morning. Did God smile on it or did he frown on it? Well, I can tell you right now. See, and then look at our talk. Well, that's Allah. That's the messenger. I ain't there yet. Well, damn it, get busy. Get there, damn it. Because if you don't quicken your pace, we ain't going to be together too long. See, everything starts with our desire to please Allah. And if I'm in that mindset, there's nothing that you could bring to me that I have done to hurt you, offend you, wrong you, or where I'm falling short in my duty that I won't bow my head and humble myself and say, I'm sorry. I'll work on that. Ask my wife. I'm the type of person I like to know. Don't hold nothing from me. If something bothers you, let me know so I can work on it.
Yes, sir.
So I can improve. Because I know if I'm right by my wife, I'm right in the sight of God. If my wife is happy and pleased, I know that my God is happy and pleased. Because he who is best among you, the prophet said, is he who is what? Most kind to his mother and his wife. Woo! I know if I'm kind to my husband, if I take care of my husband, my God is pleased because he laid this obligation on me. Woo! Take care of your husband. Keep house. Rear the children. Make an Islamic environment in the home. Set up a home that honors me, that prays to me, that recites my name and my word. Wow. At that home, as you should, and know how to act abroad. Look at those units. That means you can't just wear the garment of righteousness, of modesty, of honor and respect, and then all kind of madness comes out of your mouth at home. What? You're gonna cuss, you're gonna be vulgar, you're gonna be this. You all of a sudden, all of that, assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. You don't carry yourself like that at home where it really matters. We got some growing to do. But when we are observant of our duty as a Muslim brother and a Muslim sister, I tell you, brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, our marriages will be better. Our marriages will be much, much better when we are practicing our Islam. The greater the practice of the Islam, the more the peace. That's what it means. Peace.
You teach it, brother minister.
I'm sorry, I'm just taking up, I guess, a couple of more questions.
Yes, sir. And we do want to be respectful of your time, brother minister. I think we have.
Oh, no, I'm trying to be respectful of your time.
We can be here all night. Our anniversary. Black tie event. I mean, we here with you.
Was the hour today earlier than normal? No? It's always 6 o'clock Eastern?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sir. This question I'll combine. This was just received in a chat. And it says, when is the right time to seek out counsel when you are in courtship? Also, when you are married, does your friends come before your spouse?
Say that again.
Yes, sir. The question is, when is the right time to seek out counsel when you are in courtship? Also, when you are married, does your friends come before your spouse? Or do your friends come before your spouse? Those are right.
Well, the second one is easier to answer. Your friends never come before your spouse. Never. I don't know in what context that means. Your friends can be more before your spouse in truth. But in terms of relationship, no. No one should be more valuable to you than the man or woman that you marry. Now, the first one, man, say it one more time.
I got to roll back up to it. The question is, when
oh, the counseling.
When is the right time to seek out counsel when you are in courtship?
Well, that suggests to me that the courtship ain't going well. See, when we get into courtship and we learn each other, see, the problem with some of our courtships is that we go too far in terms of getting involved with each other. Sometimes it's emotional. Most times it becomes sexual. See, you don't really have a big problem in courtship when you're discovering each other. What promises do I need to make to you? What commitments do we need to make to each other in courtship when all I'm trying to do is get to see whether or not you're a fit for me, a mate for me, a companion for me? But once it starts with, you'll loan me that money? Sure, you're a good brother. I'll use my credit. See, now you went too far. And that is suggesting to me, like some of us do, courtship on, courtship off. Well, that's just a dignified, relationship from the street that we bring in the mosque. First we're together, then we break up, then we get back together. Yeah. See, we got too involved with each other. Emotions got involved. How did the emotions get involved? See, if I'm courting you, I'm getting to know you. All the conversations is up here. I'm learning about you. You're learning about me. We're conversing over the teachings. Man, I like this. I'm getting to learn about your mother, your father, your family, your background, your personality, your likes, your dislikes, right? And once I say, man, I think I want to marry you. Now I go back for premarital counseling. Premarital counseling. And in the premarital counseling, if there are things that you discovered in each other that need maybe a little tweaking, maybe a little guidance, that's where it comes out in the counseling. But oftentimes we're courting and there was an argument. What? There was quarreling. What? There was a this, there was a that. We getting involved in the wrong way with each other. And now one counseling so that the courtship can continue and hopefully to a positive conclusion. I don't know if I'm answering that in the spirit of the question. I know I'm answering it in terms of principle and protocol.
Yes, sir.
But, and I hope that whoever asked that question is not satisfied with the answer, please follow up with another question so that I can properly give you an answer that's more satisfactory to the question and the spirit of the question.
But brother minister, God is using you. So I think you touching on what you need to touch on. Brother Demetrius?
Yes, sir. We actually have our brother Jeremy with a quick commercial break before we ask student minister Ishmael his last question. Go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, family. Just wanted to point out a couple of announcements. First of all, we do have a couple of products that we are selling, Master Call t-shirt, as well as bookmarks. The links are in the chat, as well as we will be releasing our website. So coming on Thursday, we will have that website drop for everybody as well. But for right now, you guys can click on those links and purchase your products. Also, starting on Thursday, we will be having Brother Abdul I'm gonna share the flyer right now so everyone can see that. Oh, no, I'm sorry, we're having Brother Dimitri first. My apologies. Let me go back to this flyer. So Brother Dimitri Muhammad will be on Thursday, so definitely tune in. Same link, same time. So definitely going to be looking forward to hear from that brother. And then on Saturday, we will be having our brother Abdul Qiyam as well. So definitely come back and look out for both these messages during our powerful 3-year anniversary weekend celebration. Other than that, there are no other announcements, family. So just make sure you check out the products. And again, be tuned for the websites. Other than that, make sure you follow us on Instagram at The Master Call. And again, you can go on the link in the bio and everything will be there as well. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Brother Jeremy, before you go, can you show the bookmarks?
Yeah, I was about to ask him. Yes,
and show the shirt, bro. We're in the spirit today.
Yes, ma'am. Give me 1 second.
They can't resist the purchase if they see it.
Hold on 1 second. Otherwise,
and also, while he's pulling that up, family, a portion of the proceeds of both of these products are going to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, our #2 poor charity in the Nation of Islam. So these are the shirts right here. You'll see it when you go to the link, but the back of the shirt says, "Sin reduced you to nothing, but God said, I am going to take nothing and use it for my glory." That's a quote from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. The color is cream, like the black man and woman, the cream of the planet Earth. All praises due to Allah. You go to the bookmarks. Nothing needs to be said about those. I hope y'all can see them clearly. MasterCard logo, Nation of Islam Studies, and the big three, as we refer to them, Mustafar Muhammad, who this call is named after, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And in the other bookmark, which these come in a 2-pack, is just the plain logo. So order as many of them as you want. Tell your friends and family. Tell your enemies. All praises due to Allah.
All right.
Yes.
Did Minister Ishmael drop out?
No, he's here.
That's the one, but you have to pin him.
It did drop out. I don't know what happened.
I'm glad you came back in time. Yes, sir. Brother Javon, you got the last question, sir?
Yes, sir. And I want to say thank you to everybody who did submit a question. Fortunately, Student Minister Ishmael did address majority of the questions, even though we didn't have time to ask them all individually. So we'll close out with this last one for the sake of time. The question is, can you discuss further the power of unity in this hour, especially with what ways are being used to sow dissension to break up our unity, i.e. in business, in the ranks, etc., and how we are to guard ourselves in this hour?
That's a very good question to end with, and I have some words that I would like to lift from the minister, from an article that he wrote in the newspaper entitled, "All Opposition to Islam Will Be Destroyed." The enemy is throwing everything that he knows to cause us to slip, deviate, and to fall away from the man of God. That is the worst thing that can happen to us, is that after embracing the teachings, after accepting the Honorable Elijah Muhammad into our lives, that we come this far and we fall away from the messenger of God. So we're living in that day that not only is the man of sin being revealed, the son of perdition, and the falling away that's taking place by the truth that is exposing him, that's causing many to fall away from Satan, but Satan comes right behind that to cause those that have accepted the messenger and the truth to fall away from him. How do we guard ourselves? The biggest thing is what is in the two closing prayers, the prayers of refuge in the Holy Quran. The evil of intense darkness when it comes. Wow. Darkness is synonymous with falsehood, right? Deception, lies. But guess what other darkness is overspreading? Hopelessness. And the believer has to keep their faith alive, that hope will never be diminished, because the Quran says,
hang on, Minister.
Brother Ishmael, you got muted somehow.
Yeah, you went on mute, brother.
okay, you only missed just a little, you didn't miss much, right?
The
The last thing we heard fully was the hope has been diminished.
Yes. So faith has to be strengthened and remain strong, so the light of hope is not diminished, because darkness represents hopelessness. And when the Quran says, because the time was prolonged, what happened? The people's hearts hardened. So we have to protect our faith in an hour like this. So look at the evils. Evil of intense darkness when it comes. The evil of those who cast evil suggestions in firm resolutions. There's a lot of evil that's being spread against individuals, against the nation of Islam. There's a whole lot of theories and conjectures and this and that that's being shared about Malcolm, about Khalid, about this one, that one, the other. And so we are exposed to a whole lot of talk, and talk that may have the name of the messenger that you believe in, but talk that tickles our ear, and it causes us to lend our ear to a lot of chatter, a lot of assumptions. But these suggestions, assumptions are being made in firm resolution, and some from individuals that may at one time had respect and honor in our own community, but are no longer among us. And then there are those who are among us that have a certain level of credibility and respect. But, my dear brothers and sisters, once you hear something negative, I want you to please listen to this and spread it. Because evil suggestions cast in firm resolution. It's an evil cast by those that envy. And that's why the refuge prayer says, seek refuge in the Lord of the dawn from the evil of the envier when he envies. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of people that have a lot of things to say about me. And why wouldn't they, or even you? Because I'm in the light. I'm at the rostrum. I am the focus of one who is speaking and bringing the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the minister to us on our Believers, National Believers Meeting webcast, the Sunday broadcast. The ministers put me there. I'm a son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So there's history of deviation and hypocrisy from the family of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So it's natural that questions would be raised in our minds. However, when you hear it from someone and it's negative, or there's a subtlety there, or you know how people, we can be talking and then they'll just say, well, be careful. I wouldn't be so. Here's your yardstick. Man. Your yardstick is the man that you and I have come to follow. If you didn't hear it from him on certain aspects of the teachings, then I got to hold that somebody presents to me questionable. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Sir.
You got all of these sources. You got all of these people talking, different platforms, and this one because they heard it from this one and they heard it from, wait a minute. See, this is what the Bible is telling us, that a time would come but they would no longer endure sound doctrine, but lend their ears to what? Everything, to teachers that tickle the ear. Most of what we end up looking at on YouTube or going to a chat room over here or listen to this. See, it's stuff that tickles the ear. If you condense it, it's not sound doctrine. Their opinions, their suggestions, we're just talking. I try to do my best when I am in front of you, like tonight, to draw everything from the teachings of the Quran, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and not tickle your ear and give you my opinion and personal view. What we want and what we want to hold to and nurse from is the word of God. I don't want allegory and someone's interpretation of the allegorical parts of the message, as the Quran says. Some of the verses of the book are decisive. That's the basis of the book. That's the Quran. And some are what? Allegorical. But you got those that like to give interpretation. I'm staying on the question. How do you protect yourself? And how do we protect ourselves in an hour like this? The best way to protect yourself, stay where the minister is.
Yes, sir.
Anything that is introduced to you, even if it comes in his name, but doesn't align with his spirit and his way, that I can't be bothered with. Because what the enemy wants, he wants to foment division in the house of God. He wants to undermine the faith of the believer, and he wants to do what he always has done since he went back to the holy city 6,000 years ago. Telling lies that will cause us to look at each other with suspicion, and then get us into quarreling and arguing with each other, and then escalates into fighting each other, that goes to killing each other. That's the enemy. And we must always be aware that the enemy and the hypocrites will stop at nothing to do harm to the believer and to cause annoyance to the believer. Some of us are annoyed and being annoyed by those that may come in the name of thy Lord, but they don't come in the spirit of the Lord. So you and I have to be discerners of the spirit. When you can discern the spirit, and that spirit, as the Bible says, my sheep know my voice, my sheep know my way. And even if one comes, real slick and smooth and with, even to inflections like the minister, you can feel a person's heart, because there's nothing in that is against another human being. When I start to come to you to talk about A, B, or C, that's not my minister. That's not the way of Elijah Muhammad. And therefore, I need to look at you with great suspicion, because why are you trying to shape my perception and view of another person? That's not the way of the minister. That's our way. We like to come to each other. What you think about this brother? What you think about this sister? How you think he did this? Shut up. What are we doing? We want to always draw comparisons. And then it's coming out of a heart that has not yet been redeemed from self-hatred. And then the heart of envy, because I don't like this one, I don't like that one. What is it that you don't like? They're unworthy of the position that they're in. So I want to do everything to prove and to show that this individual that has been exalted is not worthy. Wow. So, my dear and beloved brothers and sisters, if we can keep our hand in the hand of Allah God, seek refuge. See, you want the protection. How do we guard ourselves? How do we guard us? Seek refuge in the Lord of the dawn from the evil of that which he has created. See? And what evil is that? Look at all the temptation. Look at the world that's around us. Woo! I got to seek shelter in Allah. I got to protect my ears. I got to protect what comes in into my sight, because the devil is coming from before us. Look at that, from behind us, from our left side, from our right. Gee, he comes from my friend. He can come from a family member. He's coming in the radio. He's coming in the television. He's coming in books. He's coming in everything. Satan. I seek refuge in the Lord of the dawn from the evil of that which he, not Allah, has created. Yaqub, his world. And from the evil of intense darkness that has overspread, that causes our sight to become diminished. As the night falls, it induces sleep. From the evil of those who cast evil suggestions in firm resolution. Woo! That's the big one, brothers and sisters. Evil suggestions. But they're cast in firm resolution, meaning they're going to come to you with convincing statements where it's so difficult for you not to believe what you're presented with, but you'll be able to recognize it because it's evil. It's negative, huh? It's putting another person down. Oh, and from the evil of the envier when he envies. So those are 4 evils that we've got to fight against. And how do we fight? Put on the whole armor of God.
Yes, sir.
Put on the helmet of salvation. Put your breastplates of righteousness on. You got to put on the shoes of the gospel, the belt of truth, the shield of faith, the sword of the Spirit. Put on the whole armor of God that you will what? Be able to stand against the wiles, see, the schemes of Satan. And if we got that armor on, I'm good, man. And as long as you believe in Allah and his messenger, and you are acting and behaving and conducting and talking like a believer, that I can hear the teacher, the master's voice. I can see his way from you. I can feel his spirit. I discern the Spirit of God in my brother and sister. That's my protection. That's how I guard myself in an hour like this. So hold fast to the covenant of Allah altogether. Be not disunited. That's how we stay united with our nation. We are called by his name. It's our righteousness, and it is holding to the sound doctrine. And I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, I am a student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I study and stay in his word from his books. And you can only imagine that I have been shared many things from my mother, many things from the other students of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but you never hear me quote anything from the rostrum that you cannot reference right from the teachings that are written in his books, the minister's books, the time and what must be done, final call articles. I put it all up on the screen, and I don't come behind by saying, I heard a brother say one day that the messenger said, and I don't know if it's true. You don't hear Brother Ishmael do that, because everything we need is in the prescription that has already been prescribed. And everything we need has already been transcribed in a written word. And if that isn't enough to feed us, hold us, strengthen us, then I don't know what your condition is. Then there's no cure. But we got everything we need.
Yes, sir.
And if we keep feeding on those words, I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, you and I will be fine. We don't need to reach and look for something more, something else. Just keep feeding on the word. There's so many words to parse, to meditate on, and you don't need to read every single day. Just reflect. But you got him solid in you. Therefore, a smart, crooked deceiver, he can't deceive you. She can't deceive you, because you know your Father, your teacher, your Lord, your Messiah, your Mahdi. You know his teaching, you know his way, you know his spirit. Thank you so much for the great honor again of having me. I hope that what was shared tonight was of benefit and beneficial to all who joined us. I hope and pray that I have not said anything in error, and if I made any mistake, I ask Allah's forgiveness, and I ask that I will have the opportunity to correct any mistake that I have made in the answers to your questions, or any statement or comment that I have made. My intention is not to deceive anyone. My intention is to give you the best answer from my study and my faith in the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. My congratulations again to Sister Nisa, the wonderful brothers, Brother Darren, Brother Demetrius, and the other brother,
Brother Javon.
Brother Javon.
Brother Jeremy.
Thank you.
And Brother Jeremy.
And Brother Jerry, thank you so much for hosting tonight's master call. Keep up the great work that you are doing. I know you by face, but I can't put the face to the city. But based upon what I see and what I hear of your presentation, I hope that you all are involved in the student ministry, because you come across so extraordinarily well. And we need more young ministers to step up now. As my class, I would say, you know, some of us are getting up there, and some of us are just up there, and some of us are up. So no matter what level of up we are, we need the new cadre of young ministers who got the fire and the desire that we still have, but it's your time. It's your time. It's your generation's time to step up and take the nation to the next level of its growth, its development. We do not have enough ministers to do the work that needs to be done with 50 million of our people and beyond. So this ministry has to grow. And in every large city, there's no way that one place is enough. In the city of Chicago alone, we need at least 10 locations just to start with, because it's such a large city. And we just have to start moving like that and acting like we know the time and what must be done and the urgent need for us to get this message to our people. If we put ourselves out there, the people will come. The minister has paid the price. The people love the minister. Now they must see the minister in us, and we can help to improve the condition of their lives. Thank you so very much. May Allah continue to bless this ministry, the Master's Call, with great, great success. Thank you so much, Brother Darren. That's my brother right here in the ministry. And I'm so proud of your work and the beautiful voice. And you were singing a little earlier, man. You definitely got some you got some pipes there, you know. So
wow.
Oh,
Hallelujah.
I love you all. Thank you. Thank you for the honor. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you so much, Student Minister Ishmael, especially for your love. We have almost a CD pack of just your visits to the Master Call alone and what you've given us. And I think it speaks to the love that you have for this mission and the love that the nation is built on, because he's invited himself almost every time. It's never been no, oh, well, I'll come to your platform, but don't get too comfortable because I'm the national assistant to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's been love. And everybody has enjoyed your responses to all of our interviews that we've had. And so everybody continue to tune in. We're going to go ahead and close out, but we just definitely wanted to thank Student Minister Ishmael from the bottom of our hearts. We had over 200 viewers on Zoom today. What were the rest of the numbers? 105 on YouTube and counting, 35 on Facebook. So all praises due to Allah.
All praises due to Allah.
106 on YouTube, 40 on Facebook, 206 on Zoom.
Praise be to Allah. Shout out to the Closing the Gap broadcast again. We're going to close out with one section from the Holy Quran, as always, and then close out with prayer. And we want to leave the family, as we started this, with the greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. I opened up to Surah 24, Section 5, Manifestation of Divine Light. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. A likeness of his light is as a pillar on which is a lamp. The lamp is in a glass. The glass is, as it were, a brightly shining star, lit from a blessed olive tree, neither eastern nor western, the oil whereof gives light, though fire touch it not, light upon light. Allah guides to his light whom he pleases. And Allah sets forth parables for men, and Allah is knower of all things. It is in houses which Allah has permitted to be exalted and his name to be remembered therein. Therein do glorify him in the mornings and the evenings. Men whom neither merchandise nor selling diverts from the remembrance of Allah and the keeping up of prayer and the paying of the poor rate. They fear a day in which the hearts and the eyes will turn about, that Allah may give them the best reward for what they did and give them more out of his grace. And Allah provides without measure for whom he pleases. And those who disbelieve, their deeds are as a mirage in the desert. Thirsty man deems to be water until when he comes to it, he finds it not, and he finds Allah with him. So he pays him his due. And Allah is swift at reckoning. Or like darkness in the deep sea, there covers him a wave, above which is a wave, above which is a cloud. Layers of darkness one above another. When he holds out his hand, he is almost unable to see it. And to whom Allah gives not light, he has no light. Sadaq Allah, really Allah speaks the mighty truth.
Ameen. That's a beautiful, beautiful verse. Excellent. Excellent.
Who was going to close us out in prayer?
I can close this out since I opened.
Brother Javon.
Attention prayer, family.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, Master of the Day of Wukudu. Thee do we serve, and thee do we beseech for help. Guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not the path of those upon whom wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after hearing thy teaching. Ameen.
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 May Allah continue to bless us all. Follow the Master Call on Instagram. We got more special guests coming up this week. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
Wa alaikum
salam.